welcome back to Panthy of the Geeks, and welcome back to one of our Halloween specials. So this is the second part of the Carver Halloween special, and in this one we're going to actually paint him. So there he is. In the first video we put him together. It's quite an easy mould to put together. In this video we're going to paint him. It should be a relatively simple mould to paint him. The box there is what I'm going to be using as my sort of guide now to paint this guy. As you can see, white shirt, dirty white shirt, brown trousers, right, hey, this guy had the right idea, and obviously blackbirds on there, ravens type things, the wood on there, some metal for the shears, and then obviously the orange of the pumpkin. I'll try and do some glowy eyes as well on that. So, best place to start is done the coat. I've already done that bit. I've used good old Citadel, get on the Mechanica Standard Grey spray paint, which I like to use on everything these days because I really like it. I like the grey tone. I use it on like 99% of all my models now. So actually I think this will be the first Malifaux model I've painted in grey. All the others have been started from black or white. So there we go. So that's him sprayed and ready to go. So let's get the paints that we're going to need for this. Okay, so here we are. So the first colour we're going to use on this model is Games Workshop's Rock Our Flesh. This is going to be for the shirt. This is the first coat for the shirt. And we're literally just going to put this on, wash it down a little bit, and paint that onto the areas of the shirt, which is all around this bit. Like so. We've also got this rip in the shirt as well. For now I'm just going to paint over it. On the box art that's a bit darker, and I'll come back and I'll do that a bit later, but for now we're just going to make sure there's a nice coverage on this. As it's going over grey, we really don't want to worry too much about having a really thick coat of this. Thinner coats can go on over the top of grey. I've found using it. It's one of the things I like about actually painting over grey. So look at that. Yeah, so that's kind of the consistency I want. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that off around the back as well. On that, and then okay, so that's the kind of coverage we're after. It's still not dry. I wanted to show you. You can see on there. So while that is drying, we're actually going to do another colour. Why not? This isn't going to affect the colour we've put down. I'm going to do the base coat for the actual pumpkin on his head. We're going to be using Chicaria Orange for this. And again, I'm just going to water this down just slightly, just to make sure the paint's wet. And then we're just going to paint that on there as well. And again, just following these lines with the brush. You can see that on that. And then underneath as well, just paint it into those lines. And give it a paint over there. We'll get some into those recesses in the face as well, where the mouth and the eyes are. And that's the first coat. See how that dries. You might need another one. There we go. Okay, so that now needs to dry. So before we come back to anything else, we're going to let those two colours dry because the other colours are going to get mixed with them otherwise. I've only done these two before they dry because they're not touching each other really. Okay, so I should be back. Yeah, so you can see that's fully dry now. And that's just one coat over the grey. Normally if you paint over black, you'll probably need two coats at least. But that's alright, that's pretty cool. Especially for what we want. So the next thing we're going to do is paint the trousers and the brace strap, whoops, which he has running up that side there, and over his back and around there. So that, and then we also have these trousers and the belt. They're all going to be painted in Mournfang brown. Exactly the same situation. We just want a nice little covering on there, so I'm going to water that down a little bit just to help with flowing over the model. And then we'll get it on these bits, because this was easy. Nothing else on those bits. And the only part that's going to be quite a little more time is doing that brace. We'll get that on there. Pretty much using that technique. For the brace, I can't do it on camera because I need to get right close to it. That's going to be in a fine line around the back. So let me do that and then I'll be back. So there we go. Trousers done. Brace done. We're going to do the wood part. I'll keep hold on to next. And we're also going to do the handles on these shears because these parts are actually like handles. We're going to do all this in dried bark. Exactly the same technique we've used again. And just paint over those areas. These little bits here in the middle, don't need to paint over them just yet. I'm going to do that in the next colour once this is dried. But if you do get some over like that, it doesn't really matter. Don't worry about it. And the same here, we're going to be putting another colour on there, so there we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to finish that off, back in a second. Okay. So that's the dried bark done. On there and on there, still drying. There's another colour we can actually do before we do the bandages and wraps and stuff. That's just to do the shears. We're just going to be using base coat lead belch for this. And always shake your pots. That's a mistake there. Always shake. It should be pretty straightforward. We're just going to paint that onto the shears. See, that's the problem with doing it like this. Make sure you don't touch any of the wet parts. So these are pretty straightforward, just metal shears. There we go. So that is done. So they need to dry, and then we'll be back with the next colour. Okay, so now that's dried. See that on there. Last we're going to do is these like bandages around here, and the tying sort of knot part around here. We don't want it to like string or bit of rope. For that we're going to use, where is it? There it is. Zanvi dust for that. And I'm just going to go over those parts. Again, we don't need a lot for this one, so don't take too much out of the pot. This is going to be a bit more sort of detailed work, so detailed in the fact that I just don't want to get any on the existing paint. Ideally I'd use a different brush for this, but it doesn't matter that much because there's going to be a wash going over all this in a minute, so it'll cover up any of the little inconsistencies, and then we can pick them up again later when we add on the next layer. There. And that there. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm just going to do the same around these bandages here. And then when I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit of Death Guard green. It's a relatively new colour. that is going to go on the little stalk coming at the top of his head there. You can paint that around. Like so. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these bandages off. And then what I also need to do is those little ravens on that, or crows, on that piece of twig on his back, wherever it is. And they need to be done. So I'm going to get these finished off and I'll come back and do that. Okay, so we've put all that on. So the last thing we do before we do an all-over wash is we're going to paint these ravens, and what I also want to do is paint this gash he has on his side. Now if you have a look on the box art, you might see what I mean, this gash part. That and the ravens are both going to be done in a bad and black. And what we're going to do, we're going to water that down ever so slightly in a wet palette, and then I'm just going to paint over them. And this will probably mean that some of the grey is showing through, and that is perfectly fine for what I want. Okay, so you can see there, it's not a complete covering, that is fine. It's a mottled sort of look, because feathers are usually quite mottled. And also the gash on the side, it's kind of feathered a little bit, like it's stuffed with something. So we're not too bothered about getting a nice blocky coverage. Just want to make sure we've got a lot of darkness in there. I've watered it down quite a bit for this. There we go. That is fine. So we've got like a hole in his side, and the raven's done. Right, so now they have to dry completely before we go on to the next phase. So I'll be back once that's ready. Okay. So this bottle's now dry. So what we're going to do is ink everything, all the colours. I'm going to be inked in Agrax Earthshade. That's the entire model. This is a brand new pot as well. There we go. And use any brush you want really. I'm just going to use the layer brush. That way I know I can get into everything with it. All the little nooks and crannies. And we're just going to ink everything. Pretty liberal with the usage. Okay, just hold the base now for this next bit. Doesn't matter if it gets a bit drippy, it's fine. Here we go under there as well. Okay, I think that is the whole model. Work some of those pools out. Don't want that on the blade. Anywhere it looks like it's pooling too much, just give it a bit of a wipe. Yeah, there we go, that'll do. Excellent. Right, now the long wait while the shade dries, and then I'll return. Okay, so the ink's dried on that, so you can see it's made some nice shading on there as well. But the shirt and the pumpkin both need to be highlighted a little bit to start with, back with the base coats, Rakoff Flesh and Chicory Orange. So before I move on to do the rest of the painting, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give them a quick dry brush of those two colours back up. The other colours on this are about where I want them for the base coats, so that's fine. So it's just those two that need a little bit of a brush up. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll come back and we'll continue. So there we go. You can see that's Just a dry brush over those two colours again, just to bring some of that back up. Quite happy with that, that's pretty good. So we're going to start by highlighting the shirt with the final highlight actually. We're going to be using Potg Witch Flash for this. So like always, make sure you water down your paint a little bit. And then we're just going to push that Potg Witch Flash onto like the main highlighted sort of areas on his shirt, the bits that stick out, like that. And again, we're just following the lines on the model, just highlighting these areas up. Leaving plenty of that undertone colour from the Racar Flesh and the wash showing on there. Maybe a little bit right there. If you go a bit too bright, just water it down a little bit more. Also remember, when paint dries, it will be a bit duller than it is when you actually put it on in the first place. So even though it looks really bright in contrast, that will tone down a little bit as it dries. So pretty much like that. So I'm just going to go around the model so I can have a good look at it and complete that process. And then I'll be back. There you go. So if you wanted this to be even cleaner or a bit more highlighted, then go over that in Skull White. But I want this to be dirty looking, like he has been pinned up in a field for a while. So the next thing I'll do is highlight that pumpkin on his head. For that I'm going to use some Fire Dragon Bright. And I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. I'm going to be needing to be a lot more careful with this though, because those lines on the pumpkin are pretty straight. So I'll only show you a little bit, because I need to get this right up to my eye to make sure I know what I'm doing with this. And we're just going to basically just follow these lines down and highlight this pumpkin. We also want to do that bit there as well, where it connects to the collar, and make sure we're getting this Fire Dragon Bright on. And again, water this down, and if it's not bright enough, do more layers. If it's too bright, water it down a bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I need to be right up close to this, like I said, so I can't do this on camera really. So I'll be back in a second. And there we go. So it's not a full Fire Dragon tone because I did water it down a little bit. I'm quite happy with that as a pumpkin colour. There we go. So next thing we're going to do is the trousers. And that's going to be a straightforward highlight using Scrag Brown. Yep, so we've got Scrag Brown. So we're going to be doing highlight over the trouser areas on this guy. And also that sort of brace that he's got as well. So that's just a simple case of just highlighting this belt as well. You can see that on there. Get these little buttons. I'll do it all in this colour, to be fair. I just want to get these highlights on. Only doing that because I want these to be pretty dark, pretty pants as well. See, I put a bit too much on there, so we'll just work that through a little bit. And just a case of bringing these colours in to give that a little bit of a highlight on these. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that off. Again, like I said, I'm going to do the brace part as well. And then I'll be back. That's the pants done. You can see that on there. So next up we're going to do the wooden areas, handles on these shears and the cross on his back. We're going to be using Gawthorpe Brown. Same technique, we're just going to highlight around the edges, make sure there's plenty of that dark left on there, 'cause it's quite a dark model really. And I'm going to do that, then I'll be back. Okay, so hopefully you can see that on there as well. So the next thing we're going to do is like these ropes and bandages, everything we did in January Dust. Also I noticed I'd missed, there's like little bandages around his legs. That's fine, I'm going to do the same thing, same colour. I'm actually going to use the Misty Desert, because I want these bandages to look really aged and dirty. I say bandages, ropes. If I'd wanted them to look a little cleaner, I'd probably use something like Screaming Skull. But I want them to look a lot more yellow, a bit more disgusting. So again, lock that down. But we don't want very much on the brush at all to do this. And we're just going to follow these lines for the highlights again. Pretty much like that. And then when we get around the back of here, we're going to do the same on this and the same on the legs. It'll look slightly different because we didn't use the same undercoat, but it's from the same sort of palette tones, if you will. So it's not going to look too bad. It's fine for what we want anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that all over. Okay. So hopefully you can make that on there. A very yellowy colour. That looks pretty good. We're going to paint the little stalk on the old top of the pumpkin. We're just going to use a little bit of Lycian green on that. That won't take long at all. That's actually just to bring that colour up, especially around this top part here. And then any sort of orange that's got on it off the pumpkin, I'm just going to have a look at that. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. It's only a very small part, so that is done. Then next we're going to do a little bit of an edge highlight on these shears. I like the colour of the shears, they're nice and dirty, but just to make them look sharp, we're going to be using a bit of Stonewall Silver. For that, it needs to be really well shaken up. These Games Workshop metallic paints separate very easily, so always make sure you give them a really good shake, more than the other paints, before you start. And what I'm going to do with this, actually that needs a bit more of a mix. That's better. Yeah, so you see, it's separated quite easily. A lot of these Games Workshop paints do this. So you need to give them a good stir with another brush. Yeah, right. That will do. Put that onto the palette anyway. Get rid of that brush. And then we're just going to edge highlight. I'm not going to water this down at all. I'm just going to edge highlight these shears a little bit. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit as well. Not just an edge highlight then. A bit more. It's better actually. Yeah, let's just get the other sides. And that's done as well. Just feather that in a little bit because that's got a bit odd. It's because of the angle that I'm painting at. I'm not used to painting at this angle. But yeah. That's not too bad actually. That'll do nicely. Okay. The crows have turned out really well actually, because over the grey background, because I didn't use a solid black, they're quite well highlighted anyway. So what I'm going to do with them, I'm just going to do a very quick grey highlight just around the edges, and the same on this dark patch here. This is turned out really well without any extra things going on. So I'm just going to get some grey and highlight. For that I'm going to use some Fenrisian grey. And I really don't need a lot of this. Yeah, I don't need a lot of this at all. There's hardly any brush actually, it's more of a dry brush highlight. Just pick out those edges. That's pretty good actually. Just to make it look a bit like it does on the box art. Same with these birds, the beaks. And you can see that on the edges of the feathers, tail, etc. I'm just going to do the same on the other bird and I'll be back. So next thing I'm going to do, that yellow, it's a little bit too bright. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ink these areas again. Plus it'll help them look similar. Again, I'm going to ink that in another tone of Agrax Earthshade. I just don't want it to go everywhere this time, so I'm just going to apply that slowly. Just like finishing the sentence there, slowly. So with hindsight, yeah, I could have done this at the same time as the earlier coats and kept it all together. So if you do get this model and want to paint it like this, you could actually forgo the Xandri dust step and just put this on. Should make these look a bit dirty. They were just a bit too bright for my liking when I started looking at it. And then this bit at the back as well. There we go. Okay, so I need to let that dry on those parts. Now we want to do some glowing in the eyes and the mouth. My preferred choice of glowing is usually green, light green glowing. However, this box art is very yellow, like fire. So, with that in mind, that's what I'm going to do. In addition, I just noticed that those buttons are very metallic looking. Yeah, I'm going to paint those buttons with Stonewall Silver. I'm just going to put a dot of that on each of those buttons. I'm going to try and be careful. Hopefully you get to see this. Just a little bit on the end of the brush though. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. That's nice. So the eyes, what I wanted to get some is some Avalon Sunset. And Sunset. And we're just going to paint this into the mouth and the eye sockets. So I don't know if I can do this on camera, it's going to be really fiddly. Let's try. There we go. If you get it nice and watered down, it should just go straight in like that. Oops. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit around the edges of the orbs as well, because we're going to be painting them in yellow anyway to make it help with the glowing effect. Right, let's wipe that as well. There we go. That's good. Right, so that needs to dry. So does that ink. That needs to dry as well. So I'll wait for that and then I shall return. Okay. So what I've done, I've gone and put another coat of Avalon Sunset in there over the first coat. Because the first coat was just a bit too dark. The second coat's drying in there now. And the next colour we're going to use is Flash Gets Yellow. Nice bright orange, yellow against that orange. Hopefully it'll make it stand out. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is we're going to go around the edges of the mouth. There's too much on that. Okay, we're going to go around the edges of the mouth. Try and get some like glow sort of appearance. Very smiley now, isn't he? So like that, that's not too bad. That's kind of what I had in mind. So now I need to wait for that to dry. So we've got nice and bright eyes and mouth there now. We want to do another highlight now. We're going to be using white scar. And we just want to follow that flash gits yellow around just along the edges, just to make sure there's plenty of sort of light colour coming from that mouth, and the same with the eyes. So I'm going to get up close and personal with this, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay. So there we go, nice evil light smile on there now. So next up on this guy, we need to have a look at the picture. Pretty good actually, pretty happy with how he's turned out. Doing pretty well. We need some blood though. So, blood for the blood god. So he's been carving away quite happily, hasn't he? So now he needs some blood going on. So this is a technical paint if you've never used it before. Two ways to apply it are either with a brush and paint on the dots, or to use something like a toothbrush and splatter it on. For this method we're actually just going to paint it on. So we want plenty of blood on the inside of these shears. We want to make it like the blood's mainly congealed on the shears, but is splattered around the place. So we're going to need some going all the way up here. It'll run down the blade as well. We need to be moving his arms. Same on the other side. Blood coming up from this interior of the arms, a little bit on there. Make sure we do the other sides as well. The inside there. Get a little bit onto his inside of his shirt there as well. Now, there's no on the shirt or the pants in the picture, but there is a little bit all over his face, so we are going to do that. We want some splatter. He's been a busy boy on Halloween, carving people up, getting his arm back for those pumpkins that we've been carving up. Yeah, his face is covered in blood now. Actually works pretty well against that highlight. It's done it a bit better. I'm feeling like he would have got some on his pants, but the picture doesn't have it on. I've gone all over the place on his face, even up on here on the picture, there's little congealed spots. I feel like we need to put some onto his chest and stuff, just to make it like it's splattered. Quite gory when I get started, but at the same time you don't want to go over the top. Not unless you're doing worst bit of corn. Right. If I do any more, I will be going over the top. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to streak some of that out that's already there. I'll let some of it run. Make it splattered and run a bit. You want some nice little congealed spots of this stuff when you do use it, and you want some little like pinkish lines coming off where it's a bit lighter. But I'm done. I'm not going to do any more with that. Right, now I'm going to let that blood dry before I do anything else, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the base. Okay, so for the base, first thing we're going to do, we're going to add a bunch of this on to the base to give it some texture. Quite a lot of this. I'm going to use a really old brush, and we're just going to lump this stuff on. Like so. Pretty much going to apply it just like that. Try not to get any on the model, but I'll be back. Once that's dried, it will take a little while to dry. See you in a moment. Just show you the base. I've covered it in the Sterling mud texture. You can also use Sterling Back Mire if you want it to look a bit thicker. That's fine for me. Just need to wait for that to dry now, and then we can continue. That's kind of the coverage that we're after. And because of malleable base, the rounded edge means you can wipe off any excess quite easily. So that needs to dry. That will take probably well over an hour or two to dry properly, and it needs to dry properly before we continue. So we're back. Okay, so now that's dried off. Nice and dry. That we're going to wet it down again by putting a wash over the top of that. We're going to be using Agrax Earthshade for that again, and we're literally just going to cover the base, give it some depth, darken it down, make it look more like muddy ground. And that's just a case of, probably should use a bigger brush than this. Just a case of getting that on there. Oops. Quite liberal with it at this point. Obviously wasted a bit there as well. So. Again, being a bit sloppy and trying to rush. Right. Get those edges. Right, there we go, cool. So I'll add a bit more depth to that base. So now I need to wait for that to dry again, and we'll be back once it has. Okay, now that's dried. We're going to dry brush a colour over the top of that. We're going to go with Bal or Brown. It's pretty straightforward. So you just want to, as with any dry brushing, this one doesn't have to be too neat or anything. This is the ground we're doing. But basically, we're just going to do that along the ground to get those little rocks to pop out. So I'll do that, finish that off. Okay, so that was easily done. Next thing I'm going to do, we're going to paint on the rim of this base. You can do this in any colour you want. I'm going to do it in black because all the mouthful stuff we've got a black edge around it. So I'm just going to be using a bad black, paint that around the edge, tidy it up, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's just finishing off drying. I wanted to show you what I'm going to be using next. I want to do a bit of extra on the base, just to make it look like he's coming out of a field. And for that, I'm going to be using this stuff. Oof, there we go. Field grass, Woodland Scenics field grass. I've had this for ages, to be honest. Never really had a use for it. So this will be the first time I'm using this. And if you have a look there, it advises you on how to use it. So basically you take a clump of this stuff and you basically cut it pretty much in half, and that leaves you with a clump pretty much like that. Then you dab it onto some paper or card, which is what I've used in this case, and you make little clumps of it, much like this. So I'm going to make a couple of them, and then I'm going to stick them on the base at the back and then see what they look like. I might have to blend it in with some more of the sterling mud and inks and stuff, just to make it so it doesn't like it are just stuck on. But we'll have a go at that and just follow what this says and see how it turns out, because this is the first time I've done this as well. So we'll see what it looks like. So I'll stick this on, I'll make another one from this, and then we'll stick that on, and we'll see how that goes, and if there's some more needs sticking on, maybe the ones that are on will give it some extra support. But I'll come back and I'll tell you what I've done. So here we are with the finished model. There it is, all that wheat on the back. So there you go. So you can see there's different densities of wheat. The two in the middle, they are basically how I showed you I was going to do them, by putting them on pieces of card first and sticking them onto the base. I think that's the best way, it gives you more control. These other bits are just clumped together and super glued straight on, and a lot of the parts of that fell off, but it does make it look like less dense wheat, like it's the edge of a wheat field. So the effect has worked quite well actually. But if you want a much thicker wheat field, I'd definitely put it on a little bits of card and use PVA glue to make sure it stays on. But there we go, and then I put a little bit of a blood trail coming out of there, and it looks like he's trampled on some wheat on the way out as well. So he's either murdered somebody in the wheat field and the blood's just pooling out behind him, or he's dragging the blood with him. But there we go. There's a lot of blood on this model, more than I intended to put on, but it just sort of happened. I think I was sort of inspired by the blood god maybe or something. So there we go. So I've brought Claire through to have a look at this, see what she thinks.
Looking at him, he looks awesome.
Does he look alright?
Yeah, I'm loving the wheat effect. It certainly makes it really characterful and really creepy.
Yeah.
I don't think you've got too much blood on there, to be quite honest, like you say.
Well, you wouldn't.
Well, no. No. Being cornate and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really, really characterful and quite freaky.
Yeah, that was the plan.
I'm going to have bad dreams tonight.
Yeah, I don't want people to have nightmares. But it is Halloween, so...
It is, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Better to have some nightmares.
Well, yeah, as long as you don't live near a wheat field.
You might be having a nightmare about Freddy Krueger and then this Carver comes into it.
And the Carver beats Freddy Krueger up, that'd be alright.
Yeah, that'd be alright, you never know.
No,
as long as they don't team up, you're fine.
No, it looks absolutely awesome. It just, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does look alright actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite happy with that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video on how I've put this model together and painted him. I hope you like it. Looks okay to me. And I hope you all have a good Halloween, or a happy Halloween, or a scary Halloween.
Oh, frightening Halloween.
Or a terrifying Halloween. Whoa! Yeah, don't have nightmares, guys. Don't have nightmares.
No.
Don't have nightmares.
Don't fall asleep.
No, we've gone on Yoda rest now.
Yeah, we have.
Yoda falling asleep. Right, so please like and subscribe, helps out a lot. Stay tuned for some more Halloween videos. And you guys take care.
See you soon.
Bye for now.